Hey everyone, and welcome to the first video on this channel. This video will be about how I'm gonna take apart this thing, also a small closet perch, and it's really just a small closet perch. I don't have that much stuff that has to go now. And I'm also gonna show how I set up my new shelf and my new wardrobe. And I'm also gonna go into detail later on why I decided to take these, and in general how I want to reorganize parts of the space now, because the new shelving system will not take up as much as this thing. Another big point is why I want to replace that thing. It really doesn't fit into my color scheme of the flat, and also it's just fallen apart at this point. While I and my sister had it at least with us moved like 4 times, so it got taken down and built up somewhere else at least 4 times, and it's probably even older than that, because yeah, my sister bought it originally used somewhere. So yeah, the last time when we moved it into my new flat, I don't think that it was such a good idea, because it's basically fallen apart since then. So, and now I'm gonna go over to past me on the Ikea site, and I'm gonna explain real quick how I want to reorganize the space. So, past me now, do your thing. That was a bit cringy though. So the idea is I'm gonna get one of these brimless wardrobes where I will put in all my hanging clothes, and then I'm also gonna get a Kallax. I will get one in the sizes with 3 of these squares on the bottom and 4 in height. And I'm also gonna get a few inserts for them, 2 with just basic plain doors and 2 with drawers. I will get them both in black, or 4 in black. And then I'm gonna get inserts with compartments, so I basically then have 2 shelves in one of those squares where I can put stuff. Yeah, and what I'm also gonna get is another box, and I'm gonna get this one for just my black petticoat, because I also want to store them inside of the Kallax. And what I'm also gonna get is a billy, so a bookshelf. Main reason is I got a bunch of books since I moved, and also the shelf and the wardrobe take up a bit less space in length, and otherwise I would have a bit space there that would look really, really weird. Next up was going through all my clothing and yeah, throwing out the stuff that I don't wear or that basically wouldn't fit in the new system. I actually ended up throwing out just a few things, because I really don't have that many things. So I went through all my clothing, decided which ones I want to keep, and threw out the few items that I didn't want to keep. For all of you interested in how I fold my t-shirts, because that's something that you're gonna see in the end, through the end of this time lapse, I basically use the KonMari method. So you put the arms inwards, so you have 3 pieces in the length, you put the pieces on the outside on the in piece, then you search for the middle roughly, fold one side in the middle, then the other side, and then you fold it basically and at that middle fold. And that's also how I folded every single one of my shirts. Basically to have A, more storage space, and B, being able to see which shirt it is faster. And yeah, after I was done with that, I also went through the rest of the closet, because I, for example, had an entire yellow bag in there that basically sat there since I moved. And I never got around to touch it and yeah, to go through it. Now I'm gonna take apart the wardrobe, That first of all meant getting everything out of the wardrobe again, but this time in a way that you can actually leave it that way for a couple of days till I'm getting my new stuff. And then I started with getting all the trays out of the closet. Then of course these things where currently my scarves and so on are in. And then after everything was gone, and I also put down Audrey from the side of the closet, I then started taking apart the closet, meaning that I started with the side pieces and the sheets that basically close the wardrobe. And then I had to get a bit creative. By the way, if you're gonna take down a closet that big on your own, please don't. That's a horrible idea. And I regret doing it on my own, completely alone. Especially if you're so weak and especially small, like I am, then doing that is a horrible idea. So in the end I had to get creative how I will get those two middle things to stand upright while I'm taking down the top part of the wardrobe. I ended up putting my big tower with all kinds of art supplies in it. I ended up putting that thing in the middle, in between them. Then I also took my ottoman and one of my suitcases. I think suitcase is the right word. Towards the wall. And then I put down the top of the wardrobe and I accidentally destroyed my old lamp with that. It was not that fun. So up next was building the hanging closet up. I went for the most part with the instructions given within the packaging. The only thing I did different was that I already put the bottom piece onto both sides and I also screwed both sides tight, which was a stupid idea because you have to put in this middle thing, this white middle thing for the back and the small shelf, if you will. And you can't get that in if it's already tight. So I had to unscrew the screws a little bit so I was able to get them in. Then the next two issues I had was first of all putting down the back piece. Main problem I had there was that I lost my hammer. I don't know where it went, but it's gone. So I had to misuse the back of my screwdriver and I tried to literally press them in instead of hammering the nails in. In some cases I had to hammer them in, which was not fun with the goddamn screwdriver. Another very uncomfortable thing to do was putting on the doors. The main problem I had was getting the screws that are already inside the wardrobe to be wide enough so you can put on the other half of the... Scharnier is the German word, but I don't know the English word. So I had to hold up the doors with my feet. Then I had to maneuver the thing from the door onto the other side of the thing on the wardrobe, and it was a pain in the ass. But I eventually managed to do it. Then up next was building up the Kallax shelf. I decided to go again with the instructions given. By the way, for everyone wondering why I am looking towards my webcam all the goddamn time, I did rewatch the first season of The Witcher while I built up the shelves, at least big portions of it. I goddamn love this show. I'm in love with the games and the show was amazing in my opinion. Yeah, building up the Kallax was really not that hard. You basically put in the screws on the base part and the upright part, and then you basically just click the other parts in. The only stupid thing I did with the Kallax was that when I moved it to the side, I thought it was a smart idea to hold onto one of the compartments, and that was a very stupid idea because, yeah, it broke. What I ended up doing was I had a bit of super glue somewhere, and then I basically put the super glue onto these two wooden sticks that basically connect them. And yeah, I basically hoped for gravity to pull them together again. And yeah, that was the building up of the Kallax. And before I forget it, I can already smell the comments about my shirt because of the E-slur. The band is already about to change their name. They're basically in the middle of the process of changing their name to something else than the E-slur. For everyone interested in that, I will link these videos of them explaining why they want to change it, and yeah, also a bit more in-depth information for everyone who doesn't know why it's a slur and why it has such a negative connotation to indigenous people of Alaska and Greenland and so on. Next up was building up the Billy, so my new bookshelf. Yeah, for the most part I went with the instructions again, and yeah, the Billy wasn't that hard. I think it was even a bit easier than the Kallax, if you will. It's basically very straightforward. The bookshelf is actually a bit less heavy than wardrobe. Who would have guessed that? So I was able to leave the side piece on the side until I had to connect them and not do the wild and very strange things I did with the wardrobe in that case. Then I also had to literally hammer on the back piece with the screwdriver because, yeah, my hammer was still gone into nirvana. I don't know where it went. I searched in between, but I wasn't able to find it. I don't know. And then the next part to building up the shelf was also to reorganize my shelves, because yeah, obviously I had now a bit more space, and the old shelf was cramping with books in a way that was neither aesthetically pleasing nor very practical. So I reorganized it, sorted it by category, and in case of the manga, also by series. Something that I also did was putting in all my Wii games and the few PC games in big casing that I still had into the shelf. The main reason why I still have a couple of physical copies of games, in case of the Wii, it's very simple. The Wii that I had didn't have an internet connection that worked. I don't know, the Wi-Fi chip was probably corrupted in some way, but I was never able to connect the Wii to the internet. And in case of the PC games, I just like the idea of having games that I really enjoyed and that are also kind of personal to me because I either grew up with them or something else, on display in my flat. And that was really not the case with the storage solution I had before this. In the meantime, I did little things to rearrange the shelf again, but really just small things. In the end of this video, I will go through the status, if you will, of this entire project, where I will also show what exactly I changed. So next up was putting together the inserts for the Kallax that I decided to get. Yeah, it's pretty basic. Just putting in screws, pressing them together, in some cases hammering stuff in. It really wasn't that big of a deal. The funniest thing that happened during that process was that when I hammered in these plastic nails on the back of these 4 drawers, one of them broke off. I don't know what happened, but yeah, the rest of putting together the inserts wasn't that big of a deal. I just clicked in these pieces, put down the Velcro so the inserts don't scratch the shelf, and yeah, that's it. Then I already organized parts of the wardrobe, and last but not least, I got myself a new mirror because I lost my big mirror that was originally on the old wardrobe. I put this thing together. It literally was just 2 or 3 screws and that's it. Hi! It's now roughly 2 months later than I originally filmed this video. And yeah, let's get to show the current status of this whole wardrobe project. The shelf itself, I didn't do a lot of changes. In here are just my towels and so on. Here are some tights and some of my hair scarves and other scarves. This one I don't wanna open because it's just underwear. Then some of my shirts that I used to sleep in and so on. Then my good shirts. My black petticoat. My pink petticoat. Some stuff that has to go, but I hadn't had the time to find a new place for it. Then some pants, jeans and other pants, hoodies, my pullovers, but the other ones are still wet. I washed them yesterday and they're still wet. Then in here are just some jackets. Here's just my spare bedding. The sewing machine, as I said. Then here are just some appliances in. Then long socks of all sorts. And finally short socks and some knee-long socks that didn't fit in the other drawer. And ignore this piece of leather. It's for a project that will also come on this channel as soon as I have finished it. And yeah, it's just your regular wardrobe. I tried to sort it after categories, so my winter jacket, then my boleros and other jackets that need to hang, then dresses, my only one of these bad boys, I forgot the name of it. I hope it comes to my mind again while editing. Then just some plain old blouses. This beauty that I got off Top Vintage. More blouses, and then just vintage style skirts. Then chaos. And last but not least, the good old bookshelf. I think I'm gonna turn on the lightning. So, as I said, I did rearrange the shelf a bit. So I put this shelf once higher, one of these things higher, so I could put this thing in so that the games weren't stacked onto each other. This thing has to go. I don't know why I put it there, but it's not supposed to be there. Then, yeah, otherwise I didn't change a lot on this. This thing also doesn't belong here. It needs to go in the kitchen, but I didn't do so. Until now. And yeah, that's the bookshelf. And last but not least, the mirror. Yeah. The table itself is not in use right now as a beauty table, but I want to do that in the future. And something stupid happened. While dyeing my hair, I accidentally put some of the hair dye on it. And I'm not able to get it off. I can do whatever I want, it won't come off. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope I was able to entertain some of you. And yeah, either we're gonna see each other over on my gaming channel or my Twitch or my Instagram or wherever. Or in a couple of months, maybe even next month, I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this, with a new project that I started. I already teased it with the leather that you saw. I'm gonna do a Cyberpunk 2077 cosplay, and I will also document this on this channel. And yeah, until then, goodbye! We're alive, we're free, sipping on booze on a sunny beach. We're alive, we believe that summertime memories will never fade away. Will never fade away. Will never fade away. We got the moves, we got the moves. I'm not sure what to do now. Ich habe ein Problem. Und das war die Lampe. Weiße Gold